Hess delighted in his newfound abilities, running at an impressive pace while he followed the scent trail of the vandal. He made a point of slowing to a more normal speed whenever people might be watching, but on the empty back roads he ran for all he was worth, and he ignored the occasional taunts from mirrored surfaces. But then he entered a busy part of town again and lost the scent. As far as he could tell, the man had climbed into an enclosed carriage and hidden his trail in the moving river of traffic. Hess followed along the road, but the scent did not resurface. Dejected, he stopped at an intersection and stood there observing, trying to figure out what to do next. He listened to the passing conversations, hoping for a hint of where the man had gone, but no luck. He did overhear a few other useful tidbits, though. The young couple talking about visiting family members confirmed that this was Wayralia's capital city. The mechanic fixing a tire on a carriage told him that the kingdom was fiercely proud of their innovative vehicles, and the apprentice handing him tools added that other countries had followed in their footsteps, but the first horseless cars had been Wayralian. Then a grandmother passed by with two small children, and in reprimanding one of them, she reminded Hess of something else. Magic wasn't trusted here. "No, that's technology," she said to the girl, pointing at the hanging lights in a shop which glittered and swung. "There are electrical cords and tiny motors up there. Magic is for sneaky foreigners." "Why is it sneaky, Grandma?" the girl wanted to know. "Because they keep the knowledge of it to themselves," the elderly woman said, "and they use it for sneaky things. Ask your grandfather about the wars sometime, he'll tell you. Technology is honest and understandable, but magic is not to be trusted." The girl accepted this answer, and Hess watched them go. Looking around guiltily, he changed his inner ears and nasal passages back to human standard. He didn't really need them enhanced anymore, and he worried that someone would notice when he could sense things they couldn't. He wasn't sure exactly how that would happen, but he still felt like it was a risk. With his ability reduced, he couldn't overhear conversations at as much of a distance, so he began walking in search of anything worth listening to. It was a shorter walk than he'd expected. "I'm telling you, it's only because of him that Wayralia didn't fall into just another mess of anarchy," someone was saying. Hess looked over to see a trio of workers in front of a restaurant, deep in a spirited debate. "There were plenty of factors involved," one of them argued. "We're a more resilient nation than both Anair and Ithlia." "It's not a matter of resilience," the first man insisted. "You can't overthrow an entire monarchy and make it work with just stubbornness and philosophy. Both Anair and Ithlia had more groups vying for power than they could handle, and so did we. If King Roldin hadn't taken decisive action, we would have fallen into the same kind of messy civil war that they did, and we'd still be suffering now." "Come on, Norrin, that's giving him too much credit," the second man said. "It's not like he had a lot of options at that point." "Sure he did," Norrin argued. "He could have sent the army after the head rabble-rousers, he could have fled with his life, or he could have done any number of things. Instead, he made sure that the one faction with the most leadership ability was put in command, in a way that no one would contest. They were burning down the palace," the other man insisted. "All he did was stay and fight instead of running for his life." "He could have stopped them, Dunny. Didn't you learn your history? He stationed the guards in different places as soon as he heard which faction was in charge of the attack. He left a weak spot in the defenses, just so they would break in and win, and there'd be no civil war." Dunny looked skeptical. "Did he really die on purpose?" "Yes, that's what I've been telling you. He sacrificed himself for the good of the kingdom." "It's true, Dunn," put in the other man. "The surviving guards all said that he ordered them to different posts, and the palace staff who tried to get him to hide or run, they were told to go without him. It's in all the history books." "But how would that make sure that no other groups fought for control?" Dunny persisted. "There were people with royal blood who could have made a case for it, and plenty of royalists. Wasn't that the main split between people who wanted royal rule and people who wanted commoners to be able to govern?" "Yes, but there were no direct heirs," Norrin said. "No one who'd be able to rally everyone to their side. And nobody really wanted to take on the group who'd overrun the palace itself. It wasn't general knowledge at first that he'd let them in, so the common rule group was seen as this unstoppable force. They had a lot of military in their ranks too, retired generals and young defectors, both leadership and fighting strength, I guess." "No guessing about it," Norrin asserted. "King Earldin knew all that, and he planned for it. That's why he was a better king than we deserved and should have more songs written about him." The other men muttered agreement, and the quiet one put in that it was a shame about the statue in the square. Hess looked over sharply at that. "Pardon me," he said, stepping closer. "Sorry to intrude, but what happened to the statue?" The workers all grimaced and left it to Norrin to explain. He looked like he would have liked to find the person responsible, as he told Hess about the way the statue of the former king had been broken into rubble in the early morning. "It used to sound like a benevolent uncle watching everyone in the square," he exclaimed, gesturing to the east. "I don't know who thought it was a good idea to do that, but bad things are coming to whoever did." He punched a fist into his other hand, and the others grumbled ominously. Hess felt heartsore. "Has it been cleaned up at all?" he asked, waving in the same general direction to see if the man would clue him into how to find it without asking. "Oh, I should hope so, but I don't know that it would look any better," the worker said. He did look in the direction that the road was going, tilting his head back as if he could almost see it from there. Then he shook his head. "It's no way to treat the memory of a great man. Though his dad was greater, to be fair," added Dunny in a quarrelsome tone. Oh, you're always arguing things like that, Dunn. His dad fought in a glamorous war, but Reldon prevented one and left us a lasting peace. Oh, to be sure, but that was just one act of greatness. A great one! Let me finish. Fine, but you know what kind of cultural steamrolling we would have gotten if King Caradon hadn't won the war? Art and music replaced with propaganda, curfews enforced, clothing regulated, kids brainwashed. That is not letting me finish. Hess found them to be ignoring him again. He waved his thanks and moved off in the direction of the demolished statue. The idea of a big statue in honor of a past king struck a chord in his memory that rang maddeningly close to the surface. Hoping for more memories to be shaken loose, he hurried on. The city square proved to be close once he got past the worst traffic. The road encircled grassy lawns, trees, and picnic tables, with food carts and other vendors. It was a lovely scene. The destroyed statue in the center made it a tragedy.